Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Santa Rita Union School Board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. First, we can start off with a roll call, please.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Mr. Neil Patel is not present.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the board agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, today on closed session items, we have item 2.1, potential litigation, the Government Code Section 54956.8 and 54956.9. We also have item 2.2, public employee appointment/employment under Government Code Section 54957. Do we have any public comments regarding any closed session items?
No, we do not.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn to closed session at 5:02, please?
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
Okay, second, please.
Second.
And roll call.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, see everybody afterwards. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Santa Bernardino Union School District Board meeting. I'd like to reconvene back into open session. Nothing was voted on in closed session, so there's nothing to report out. We're going to move on to item 5.1, approval of consent agenda for items 5.2 to 5.4. Can I please get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Elba Ariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Moving on to 6.1. Do we have anybody here from SRTA or any comments submitted? No? Okay. 6.2, anybody from CSEA? Or any public comments committed? Nope. Okay.
It's
Sorry. 6.3, we had the school spotlight today, and exciting news, we have McKinnon Elementary School. Six point one. Keep your.
Everybody, I think I'm the principal at McKinney Elementary School, and we brought some of our amazing student council to share a little bit about what we're doing this year.
Should I start again? Yeah. Okay, come on over. All right, one more time. I'm Mike Muchnick. I'm the principal at McKinnon Elementary School. I brought some of our amazing student council here to explain some of the things that we're doing this year at McKinnon. So I'll turn it over to them.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, aldermen, and cabinet and community members. We are McKinnon Elementary, the best school in the district. My name is Mireli Rivera, and with me are my fellow student council members. Hi, my name is Gabriela Arias. Hi, my name is Guadalupe.
Hi, my name is Christopher.
Great. Here at McKinnon, we love getting out into the community to expand our learning. Our teachers and students have taken several field trips and would like to thank the SRUSD School Board and Cabinet for sponsoring these amazing learning experiences. Our first graders have seen here on their trip to the Monterey Bay Aquarium. Our second grade students visited the Monterey Zoo and are looking forward to a trip to the Seymour Marine Center in Santa Cruz during the spring.
Our third grade graders joined students from around the county at the Salinas Rodeo Grounds for Farm Day.
Our fifth grade students were able to visit the farm as part of their science unit on plant biology. Our second grade students visited, that's wrong. This way. McKinnon Elementary continues to add new equipment to our playground in order to support positive cooperative play and learning during recess. The addition of soccer goals and board games make our recess time fly by. Spirit Days very seriously here at McKinnon and had a great time dressing up in costumes for our fall celebration last month. Ms. Garcia has worked hard to create a new counseling center for McKinnon, an alternative to suspension students. Here, students can work one-on-one in small groups or rest and reset when they need a quiet space.
Our teachers are working hard this year to help us be the best we can be. I think that our teachers are the heart and soul of our school. Miss Maria, our librarian, organized the McKinnon Book Fair this year. It was amazing.
Mr. Martinez started here at McKinnon and is working to build our musical communities.
You'll have to stop by if you want to see more.
We just finished up our volleyball season and are looking forward to start of basketball season. Volleyball was so popular at McKinnon. We need to bring on an extra coach for a second team. Go Stars!
We have some amazing things to look forward to this year at McKinnon. Feel free to visit anytime.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. So before you go sit down, we just want to make, you want to start off, Mr. Neil Patel?
Well, first of all, I'm just so happy that you came and presented. It took a lot of courage, as I always say, to come up and speak before this board or any board, and your parents, and you should be very, very proud of what you've done. But you represented your school. And you showed us what's going on, all the field trips, the music programs, the sports programs, and you did it in a very nice, easy to understand manner. So I want to say thank you very, very much. And please continue what you're doing now, and that is to be the true leaders of our future. You know, always step up, always volunteer, always come out and help the other people out there. So thank you. And Mike, what can I say? McKinnon is running awesome, and the fact that your students are here presenting in a really awesome way. And I'm just so glad we're over COVID and we're seeing our kids out there in the community, in the field trips, so, that I think is a major part of education. So thank you, and thank you. And parents should be, thank you to parents too.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval?
Thank you. You guys have a lot of courage, for coming up here, and I want to commend the parents for supporting your kids. And I think you all did amazing. Good job.
Okay. Ms. Salvariano?
Thank you very much for being here. I know it takes a lot for you to be speaking in the microphone, but each and every one of you did a good job. And one of the things that you just mentioned was working to be the best that you can be. And it's showing. So thank you for being here, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Sarah Turner?
Amazing job, guys. Really proud of you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys all did an amazing job. And even, when you dropped the papers, you got up, got confident, and you did awesome. So power to you. And can you introduce your parents that are here today? You want to go up to the mic and kind of introduce your parents?
So my mom's here, and she's over there sitting down, and her name is Rosario Arias.
Can you please stand up? Oh, gracias. Sí, gracias por venir. Yeah.
My mom is Margarita Ramirez Rivera.
My mom is Pilar Lopez.
My mom is Virginia Ortiz.
Oh. And if we can please have the parents come up for a picture with the kids as well, and we'll stand up as board members, if you don't mind, right here in front of the screen.
Mr. Mushnick?
Yes.
Thank you. That's great.
Guys, congratulations.
Parents a few moments if they want to not stay for the full meeting, just in case. You're welcome to join us for the rest of the meeting, but if you understand, if you want to hit home as well, so. Better.
Nada más queremos decir también que los papás no quieren quedar, pues ahorita lo pueden salir porque pues que vamos a esperar unos minutos para que tienen tiempo de salir, que no quieren quedar para toda la junta.
Good job.
Great.
Good job.
Very brave.
Good job.
Yeah, all fine. Good job. Oh, yeah, good job. Mr. President, I have a question. Is it possible that we can move item 13.2 up after the board reports and administrative reports and public comment?
I'm open to that if the board is open to that as well. Okay, so we'll do that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I always love it when we do the school spotlights. It's always great to kind of be reminded why we do what we do. So moving on to 6.4, Superintendent's Cabinet. Start off with Director of MOTF, Mr. Victor Sandoval.
Well, good evening, everybody. I only have a few items. I just want to really do a big shout out to my staff. They did an amazing job on servicing all the HVACs with the installation of all of the MERV 13s in 2 Saturdays. It's kind of unheard of, but they worked hard, diligently, and I just want to give them some credit tonight. The other thing is kind of something that I mentioned on my Friday letter, and we'll be having a presentation from Generate Capital. That's the PPA provider. That's going to be scheduled for the January 25th board meeting. Other than that, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, thank you for the update. Moving on to Director of Nutritional Services, Mr. Chuck Helm.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm also going to keep mine relatively short, and in the spirit of giving out thank yous and stuff, I'd like to thank Summer, the staff that she put together, the team that she put together to give up a weekend to collect alternative income forms. We're currently at 91%, which is, unprecedented for us. I don't think we've ever gotten that high since I've been here. So thanks to her and the team, Jennifer Nunez for helping me clean up those reports and getting all that information ready. The site staff for making the call, reaching out to parents for the forms that are missing. We still have about 2 or 3 weeks left to get the rest of them, and we're gonna do the best that we can to do that. And the other thing I wanted to say is, thanks to our staff at Gavilan View for the work that they put in now setting up that new serving line. Jumping through some hoops, obviously, there's always going to be hiccups going through changes, but they've got a relatively good working routes now for those kids to go through, and the counts are up, which is always good. So thanks to Alberto and Donna, Sophia, and everybody involved in doing that. And of course, our staff at Gavilan View, Carmen, Judy, Sarah, and Leticia.
Just for the publics and also people watching online, how does filling out or getting those income forms help the district? Because I know that you mentioned we have a higher number than we've had in the past.
Yeah, if they end up qualifying for free or reduced meals, then it's roughly $2,500 to potentially $3,000 per student that is used directly in for the classroom. It's not for food service, or it's support for the district.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, thank you for the update. Okay, Rosa's not here today. Moving on to Director of Special Education and Student Services, Ms. Melanie Grundy.
Good evening. Let's see, quick update, I hope. So our school psychologist, as well as several teacher leaders and our SPED admin team were able to attend a 3Fs legal training last week on Friday. Great training. It really focused on mental health and child fine. So really getting in front of that. It was so good. I kind of called Summer and said, man, we should have included our counselors. So working with our school psych team to bring in kind of an overview for our counselors and social workers tomorrow when we meet as a collaborative team to share some of that knowledge. Celebrating our school psychologists this week for the School Psychologist Appreciation Week. So we have a training tomorrow. We're going to bring in lunch and do a small little thank you for just all the heavy lifting they've been doing with all of our initials coming in, as well as keeping up with tries and just really being true leaders for our school sites and our teachers and case managers. Just big thank you to Victor's team in transportation. We've been taking back a lot of our students that had been previously transported with MCOE. So it's been quite a work around to try to fit in additional routes, build new routes, rent vans, and do whatever it takes to be able to service our students and transport them. So really appreciate all that work from the transportation team. And today we actually did a SPED training for all of our SPED staff, including special education teachers, speech pathologists, as well as occupational therapists and school psychs, and really focused on IEP timelines and kind of did a lot of case studies and collaborative group work on just, if this happened, how do you walk through and still meet timelines? So it was really good. And then we also dug deeper in iReady data and looking at how we can align that data to our IEP goals and progress monitoring and just that alignment, and collaborated our, what is she, Tech TOSA, Karen Yoder was able to come in, so appreciated that collaboration as well. She came in and was able to really model for teachers how to get certain reports, print off and look at the data and help that inform our IEP process. So yeah, it was good. Thank you.
Okay. Questions and comments from the board? I think just for me, it's good to hear as far as you're emphasizing as far as timelines on IEPs, because definitely that helps with the student services. Make sure. So thank you. Okay, moving on to Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Donna Coney.
Thank you. Yesterday I returned from a recent training conference that I took. We went with the 2 academic coaches from the middle schools to the PLC Plus training. And this is a training that I'm very excited to bring further into the district, possibly even having training the trainers. We'll have internal training on our campuses where more of the instructional side of what is happening with our PLCs and that what's happening with PLCs and how is it coming about in our classrooms, and those I can statements where students really do know what they are going to be learning, what they are learning, and if they have learned it at a richer level from the DeFore model to now the Fisher and Frey model. And it was very exciting to actually meet Nancy Frey, who really met with her at length. And I'm just honored in the fact that she was explaining to us where they were taking the DeFore model to a richer level out of respect for Rick and Becky DeFore. So really excited about bringing in gradual release maybe next year and the first 20 days. So bringing that back to our district with also a richer PLC model, taking us to a richer next step. We're doing iReady data chants with our principals so they can take that back to their grade levels and subject level meetings. And in the coming weeks after Thanksgiving, we'll be getting ready for our second benchmark. And teachers are starting to come back and doing some after school enrichments and interventions. And it's exciting to see those HRAs coming back again where it wasn't really happening last year. So teachers are starting to get energized to do the work with the students again. And it's really exciting to have that come about. So very exciting to see what, I'm just pumped from the conference still. So it's exciting to see what we're going to do next with it and build that future for going forward.
So it kind of sounds like you feel like the energy from the teachers and your staff is very different than it was last year.
Yeah,
I think
last
last year just
year-
kind of like a lot of burnout and tiredness and
Yeah, at 3:15 they were done. I'm going home. I'm tired, and out of respect for that, it was a long year last year, and we all felt it, right? So this year we're starting to see teachers saying, "Hey, I want to do this, and I want to do this after school thing, but how else? Well, if I do an academic component, can I also do an enrichment component?" And I'm like, let's do it together so that there's buy-in from the students and really see how that happens. And we've got elementary sites and middle school sites both starting to feed off of each other in those ideas. And each week I'm getting more and more teachers jumping in from each site. So it's really exciting.
Okay, that's awesome. And thank you to the teachers as well. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Patel?
Just a comment. I fully support PLCs and GRR modeling. My concern is always to make sure we're going to continue the program over many years. It just can't be 1 or 2 years and drop it. I've had success with it in the high school level, but it did take 4, 5, 6 years into it where finally we're starting to gel. So don't give up. Be the biggest cheerleader out there, and the collaboration does work. It does work,
It's exactly what Nancy was explaining is how can we take it to another level? So it's not just about the data and the curriculum. It's about the instruction and the students and the enrichments and keeping the energy going forward. So it's more of an RTI squared model with, I said, what does the plus mean? And so as she explained it, it kind of reminded me of the RTI squared. So it's, that deep intervention of all levels from the restorative practices and the SEL to the attendance as well as the academic achievements.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the board? Nope, thank you for the update. Okay, I skipped you, huh? That's okay. I didn't bring my glasses today, and I'm kind of like, Director of Special Education and Student Service. I'm sorry, Director of Parent and Family and Community Engagement, Dr. Summer Prathesha. Yeah, match. I know.
I want to apologize for my phone ringing. We do have a family who's really ill with COVID, and that's the person who's delivering medication to them. So, sorry, I apologize for that. So I will keep mine brief, gentlemen, but I always have a lot to say. So I want to start off by thanking, again, Mr. Mike Kimball and Kimball and Associates. They were here with us on Tuesday with all of our site leadership to do the next phase of our ongoing plan. So they completed a SWOT analysis where they had each of the principals really look at what those threats were on their sites, make some comparisons across districts, starting to do some prioritizing. They'll be coming back together as a team as well to look at the vulnerability assessments that were completed by our outside provider, a summary report from those SWOT analysis, and then starting to make some real strategic plans. So we're really grateful to Mike and his team. They've got our back each time we've called them and really helped us debrief each incident that has occurred. So thank you to Mike and his team. With that as well, I shared with you a little bit last time that we were approved. I submitted an application and we were approved by the Department of Education and West Ed to become part of the School Climate Collaborative. I'm going to pass out a little bit of an overview. We're actually the only district in Monterey County who was selected. So that's interesting. I kind of wish some of our other partner districts were involved, just because it would be great to collaborate. West Ed is doing some work with Salinas High School in particular in another area. And so we talked a little bit today about some collaboration there. But you'll see that the School Climate Collaborative is really an opportunity for us to, I'm just going to look at those bullet points in that first paragraph, identify some of our local assets. In meeting with that team today, they were saying, not to brag about us, but they were fighting, the consultants were fighting over who got our application because there's so much going on in the direction that the Climate Collaborative is really looking at, that we're on the cusp of greatness with some of these initiatives. And so I'm excited to have them on board with us. Really a prioritization of equity and inclusion, engaging families in our community, our student voice, which we've really started to work with the Center for Community Advocacy. We've had 3 student voice programs already, but we'll really be able to bring those forward here. Really addressing some disparities and inequities amongst our groups, and then really building a culture of respect. With this, part of what we'll be doing is creating you'll see on the second page or the back of the first page, that one of the aspects of this is that we have to create a leadership team. So what we've decided, it's on the bottom of that first page, right now, we have a lot of committees going on and people are stretched really thin. So in talking with this group, what we're going to do is kind of merge the Behavior Task Force, merge the Equity and Inclusion Coalition, and create this School Climate Coalition. They're really looking at the same things. And now we really have driving force and support through the Department of Ed and through West Ed in the development of those committees. So nothing's really going to change except the title of it. And then we'll have our community stakeholders and everybody else will still be involved, but it'll be under this initiative. So I'm really excited about the work that we're going to get to do with them and the supports that are going to come from having this opportunity. So thank you for that. And I'll keep you guys posted. Our first meeting is going to be on December 9th. And so I'll get that information out. I'll get the information 9th. Yeah, it'll be virtual. But that'll be a first 90-minute session with the team there. Next, Sarah had asked me when we first brought forward Cognito, kind of some end results of how that went. Cognito, if you remember, is the virtual program that we were using to address student mental health and wellness. We provided our staff opportunity to complete that. We asked for it to be completed in October and then provided some additional opportunities for staff to complete that. Today, I received our final reports from them. I won't go through them. You can look at them, but you'll see that overall the report is very favorable to how staff felt about it. There were some glitches along the way, and I've shared those glitches with Cognito, some challenges with logging in, some challenges with once people got in, when too many folks were in at the same time, it would kind of throw them out, and some annoyances there. But overall, people really seemed to feel that the program was beneficial to their work with students. And so I was excited to see these end results. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? No? Just a lot of great things happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource, Ms. Becky Moore.
Thank you. Just a reminder that our open enrollment for McSig is in progress. And so any of our staff members listening, make sure if you want to make any changes, you do that now, this month in November. We have also we're almost finished meeting with all of our intern teachers and pre-intern teachers. Charlotte's been helping me with that, touching base with them to check on their progress towards their credential and make sure that they have the support that they need as they're working through that process and working in their first years of teaching. And they've been going really well. The teachers have been very positive about the coaches they've been matched with at their school sites. So that's great news. Summer and I will actually be going to the National SLP conference along with our SLPs in the district. Melanie was not able to go right now with her young children and her current workload. Those couple days off were going to be really challenging for her. So Summer will be my partner at our recruitment table there. We are prepared to take a bunch of information about our district. Summer helped put together these beautiful flyers, because you know she's good at that, talking about the lovely climate here in Salinas, California, to try and entice some SLPs to our district. So we're looking forward to that and hopeful that we'll make some good contacts. We have current positions open. We know we'll have more next year. And so we're really hopeful and excited about that. Finally, I wish that our CSEA and SRTA presidents were here today. I just really wanted to thank them for their collaboration. We had something come up last week where I needed to meet with them pretty immediately, and they were able to get together with me that same afternoon to collaborate, problem solve on something that was happening. And I just really appreciate that we can always work together as we are navigating with different situations. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? As I said, it's another selling point. We have good relationships with our unions. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the board and the superintendent. Start off with Mr. Neil Patel.
Well, you know, I always have something to say. First of all, I've been getting a number of phone calls from parents regarding various media issues, students posting stuff, and I'm glad that our district is handling it the best that we can, and I'm hoping that as time goes on, this becomes less of an occurrence, and families and society finally figures out the proper use and misuse of various digital websites, if you will, and postings and non-postings. So I hope as a district we create some type of curriculum, if you will, that'll help teach our students and our parents and our communities, proper use of such websites and devices in the future. Having said that, I want to congratulate a few people on the board here. First, the man right next to me, Mr. Sandoval, congratulations on winning your race for city council. I know you went door to door to door, and you put the work out, and I just want to say congratulations. Well-deserved victory, and the city couldn't have gotten anyone better than you. So, I think it's a city we won. Having said that, right next to you, I have Miss Elva Ariano. I want to congratulate you. Your longevity and your experience is something vital to this district, and I'm glad the voters saw that. And I'm very glad that you are here, and I'm glad you'll be here for extended period of time, and I appreciate you. And, you're very, very needed at this district. Having said that, there are three people I really want to say major thank you to and major kudos to, and that is for our Measure R campaign. And that would be Sarah Turner, our president, Jacob Sandoval, and our superintendent, Melissa Alderman. I had my doubts considering the inflation environment, the environment we're in. But the process you created was very effective, obviously, and I just want to say thank you, and thank you. I can't think of better people to run a campaign, especially in this climate. This was one of the toughest climates I've seen, and it could have went either way. And the fact that the door-to-door campaign, the phone calls, everything, worked out really well. So I want to compliment you on your leadership and ultimately our success, and hopefully we can spend those money to further modernize our sites. So thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Thank you. I like what you said. I think it wasn't intentional, but you said to our success. So Measure R, I think it is going to, be a big benefit to our students, our teachers, and our community. And it's going to provide a lot of good paying jobs. I'd like to report that I had a fun time at the taco fundraiser with Miss Galing over here. But more than anything, what I was able to see, and I haven't known her for very much time, but she really has a love for students, a love for music, and I think for her parents and community. So I'd like to applaud her for her continued success, and I'm glad that the board is going to be supportive, of course, in the future with all our arts and music programs. But I just want to, yes, I just want to tell her thank you very much. And just one point of clarification: that item 13.2, if we can move it after public comment. Sorry,
Okay,
right after this. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Salvadoriano.
Yes, I'm here. Congratulations to you also. And I also want to just thank all the voters from Area 3. And I know all the votes aren't in completely, but it does look like, it's going to be okay for me to stay on the board. But anybody out there online that's in Area 3, thank you very much. And of course, I'll support any areas, families come to me or they call. I'm open to listening. I don't do much talking, but I do a lot of listening. I do get phone calls, and if I can refer them over to Melissa, I will, and just continue to support all of the families in this district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah Turner.
I wanted to say thank you to everybody that worked on the Measure R campaign. The Specifically, I wanted to thank the SRTA and CSEA leadership that came out and supported us from the beginning. We had teachers and classified people, administrators from every site that came out. I went to every school in the district and begged, and people treated me with great kindness and respect. And I promised them that I would come around in the spring when I wasn't begging them for something. So I will make another tour and listen again. And people were amazing. I also want to thank the cabinet and all of our administrators for just absolutely going above and beyond. As Mr. Patel said, we had great trepidation about going out for a bond in the current economic climate, but legally we would have had to wait another 2 years, and we couldn't wait 2 years with I can't have children in classrooms that are falling down and electricity that's not safe, et cetera. So all of the work, it seems like, is going to pay off, and I'm incredibly grateful to everybody who worked so hard. So thank you.
Thank you. No, I just want to echo the same things. I just want to thank the staff at the cabinet and also teachers and everybody for taking the time and walking and, and putting up signs and whatever else we need to do. So it was really a community effort. And that's what I appreciate about the Santa Rita. It's a Santa Rita family. So thank you. Superintendent Ellerman.
I have a pretty big State of the District report coming up, so I'm just going to save mine for that.
So next we're going to do public comments non-agenda, which means anything that does not with the 13.2 first, if there's anybody, or is everybody for 13?
Everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to.
Yeah. No, Miss Galing.
Okay, Miss.
So we'll start with her. She was top of the list. So we'll start with Diane Galing.
Yes.
Because the microphone.
It's just so they can hear you online. That's why, because people hear you online. Yeah.
Good evening. So I just want to say a few quick things. First of all, thank you to Mr. Sandoval. The challenge I gave him was he wasn't going to be able to keep up warming up the tortillas. So he brought his griddle with the propane, and he's like, that's a challenge if I've ever heard one. He kept up. So thank you, Mr. Sandoval, for all your help, and your wife, who gave you permission to actually sit down part of the way through. So it was great. Mentoring another teacher, as I'm mentoring Shannon Casapia over at John Gutierrez Middle School, is a challenge. And she's taking it like a horse to water, trying to do everything right and everything. So she's here for the long haul for the music program at John Gutierrez Middle School. And so together we're going to get through this. We are already scheduled to go to Milpitas Festival in the Parks, and I think it was around May 6th or so. But short term, we have winter concerts coming up. So if you don't have these marked on your calendar, December 6th is John Gutierrez Middle School at 6:30 p.m. December 8th is mine over at GV at 6:30 p.m. The parents are totally excited every time I meet with them. They're like, well, can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this? It's like, okay, maybe. Let me go check. It's nice having a board member as a parent who has the superintendent and a few other people on their, on their cell. It's like, oh, okay, I'll call them or I'll text them. It's like, okay, so I find out answers right away. But so we've got those two things coming up. I have this whole list of dates to tell you before I came. Oh, yes, we really did PLC today in the music program. And the fact that we discussed, because we have been discussing having our first annual district music concert. We discussed dates, times, venues. And we took everything down and we were searching our brains. The best venue we're going to come up with, and I have an email out and hopefully that's going to come through, is Fox Theater downtown. That has a venue that's large enough for an audience. And they've done some work on it. It looks like the stage pit area is big enough as well. So since I'm having my spring concert down there already, I've already made contact. So we're looking at a Saturday afternoon in mid-April right now. Now, no date for sure, but I was excited to bring that to the table to let you guys know. Don't plan anything on a Saturday in April because that's going to be our first annual district concert. And we're looking to have 4th, 5th grade combo. do some world music or something, and then have an honor band, honor orchestra, and honor choir, where the directors will pick like the top kids or whatever, and bring in guest conductor like maybe Jillian Lawson from Rancho San Juan. So they can get used to a high school band or a high school orchestra director or a band director, or bring somebody else who does choir and whatever as our guest conductors. So I think that's it for right now. You know where I live, at the next door. If you ever have any questions or something. So, but please, thank you for all your support, guys. I've been here long enough to know where I haven't had support in the district office. And those times are tough. And there are times where I reminisce back to those times and I feel very raw from those times. Even the taco fundraiser, though it was a success in my mind, it could be better. And next year it's going to be better quality, more food, more everything. And so so thank you for all of your support you're giving us. It's really nice to have that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. And these two concerts you mentioned, they're going to take place where? The one for at 6:30?
December 6th, John Gutierrez Middle School. It'll be at John Gutierrez.
You got it.
And mine will be here in the gym. And then I found out today that we will not have chairs. We're going to have a special visitor, and I'm going to have my my middle school, my families who have like little kids. Right now I'm toying with the idea of having them bring a blanket, come in pajamas, have a pillow that they can be on the floor. So we're going to see, but these are ideas. So
come meet with me. We'll figure it out.
Another meeting. Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, so we're going to move on to item 13.2, which is discussion regarding a project labor agreement, a PLA. What does the public comment? Yeah, we're going to start off with the public comments first, and Ms. Alderman will start.
In no particular order, we're going to start with Rod Smalley. And I apologize if I butcher anyone's names, and I'm going to blame your handwriting if I do.
Just did it.
It's okay. It's not Missouri. It's Missouri. But we say Missouri. Okay? So PLA, what really is a PLA? Project Labor Agreement, right? It's for our community, which all of you said tonight, our community, right? That's these gentlemen who live here and work here. So they're not traveling 2 hours or an hour. They're right down the street. It's their families that are going to your schools and the schools in Monterey County. That's truly what a PLA is about. It's about workers that live in this area. There's no other way around it, right? Now, somebody's going to tell you union, non-union. If it's a PLA, everybody gets paid the same. It's a no-winner. I'm not the great politician. I'm not a great speaker, but I can tell you this. PLA is what you need. And you got people in this room who are willing to help you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Casey Vanden Heuvel.
Don't worry, it took me to the third grade of learning how to spell it. So. I'm here in front of you tonight because we're in support of this PLA. And often on prevailing wage projects, requirements of apprentices and misclassification of workers happen. So tonight, I encourage you to support this PLA because you're going to support these local apprenticeship programs with local opportunity for this community. You're going to support, by voting yes on a PLA, for a skilled and trained workforce that live in this community. And you're also going to be voting yes on a PLA so that you join a partnership with these construction trades you have here to make sure that these projects are a success, not only under time, but under budget. We are going to work tirelessly to make sure that happens. So please vote yes for apprenticeships, skilled and trained workforce, and local hire. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve MacArthur. Steve MacArthur.
Good evening, honorable board members, staff, superintendent. Thank you for letting me speak. You're going to hear a theme here, but I'm also speaking in favor of project labor agreements. I represent the plumbers and steam fitters for Monterey and Santa Cruz County. Probably 2/3 of my members actually live in Monterey County. And again, they would love the opportunity to work in this county, to work in this school district. Way too many of them drive because they have to and jobs aren't available here. And it's sad to see when there are jobs here that people are driving from another town from far away to take these jobs. So I would also we also provide healthcare. We have a beautiful apprenticeship program. You're welcome to come see our training facility. It's in Castroville. I welcome any of you to come visit anytime. Education's dear to me. My mother taught high school at Gonzales High School for 20 years, and I'm also an alumni of La Jolla Elementary School as well. So thank you for your time.
I have a house built in 1932 that you could have some apprenticeship on.
Michael Brown.
Hello, my name is Michael Brown. I'm a member of the IBEW Local 234 Electricians Union, representing Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito counties. As a community member and member of the local workforce, we're excited at the opportunity to have employment in the same community that we live in with the pursuit of a PLA. The Santa Rita Unified School District will also create opportunities to train the future workforce in apprenticeship programs. We ask for a yes vote on the PLA because it will positively benefit our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
And last we have Manuel Pinheiro.
Good evening, superintendent, school board members, your staff, your support staff, your educators. To see these young children up here from McKinnon Elementary School was just great. I remember my first time speaking in public. They did it without flaws. They were in sync, like playing in concert. And I'm going to tell you why. There's cohesiveness here, Santa Rita School District. It starts with your superintendent and it trickles all the way down, even to your classified staff. So you have a great school here. One thing we got to remember that we're trying with the building trades is to get the education system in California to get industrial arts back in the school. So I'm aging myself. When I went to high school, we had wood shop, we had metal shop, we had auto shop. And that's missing. We want all kids to get a great education. But we know it in our hearts, not everybody's going to go get a 2, 4, 6, or 8-year degree. But they have a good union apprenticeship like these young men here. And that's important. And this is what a PLA does. You know, skilled and work trained force, good wages, good benefits, and they stay in the community. Right down the road here at Rancho San Juan High School, we had a PLA there. It was saved them $1.8 million. That's a copious amount of money. That money gets turned around and they're going to build more school and they're going to put more money into your infrastructure. So when I went to school in the 60s compared to what schools look like today, guess what? That infrastructure needs to be updated some more. I really encourage you to support a PLA. It's the honest way to go. The DIR, the Department of Industrial Relations, State of California, sets those rates and those benefits by the union wage, prevailing wage. Thank you for your time. Keep up the good work. And you got some future students here that are going to be sitting in our spots up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to 13.2, which is discussion of project labor agreement. And there were some documents that were attached to your board agenda. And now we're going to open it up for comments and discussion from the board. Any questions or?
I have some comments.
Sure.
You know, I've been a high school teacher for 22 years now. And I've seen a lot of things come and go, especially the lack of resources that are being spent to develop a future workforce that is career oriented, whether it be construction, plumbing, machine welding, whatever it may be. And I've been a proponent of it for many, many years. Not all of our students are going to go to universities or colleges. Yet we have these vital services that will always be needed. You know, whether it be construction, electrician, plumbing, we will always need that. And so, you know, I believe in apprenticeship programs. I believe in providing that access for those seniors and juniors in high school so they have a future, they have a dream, they have a belief, they know they can make a difference. And I'm also a big proponent of taking care of our own. Our own. And what I mean by our own is our community. You know, I always talk about community schools, our Salinas community, our Monterey community. And, you know, I can't sit here and support people that have not a vested interest in our community. So having said that, you know, I'm a big supporter. I just want to let the rest of the board know. I always have been, always will be. I've been a proud union member for 22 years. And I think that's the one thing lacking in our nation is lack of support. I know the membership of unions has gotten down over the last 30, 40 years. And I think that's the number one reason why real wages have went down in the United States. So I'm a very strong proponent of a PLA. I am part of the Salinas Union High School District. I've seen Rancho San Juan being developed. And you know what? It is a state-of-the-art school. My own kids go there. I walk through those campuses and everything is first rate. You can tell love and dedication was employed there to create a fantastic school. So, you know, once again, I'm very strongly in support of.
Thank you. Yeah, as we move forward with this, and of course, I'm in full support. One thing I've heard over and over is there's a big misclassification of employees when there's not enough regulation, right? So as we move forward and things like wage theft, right, where they're being misclassified and being maybe put as labor when they're really electricians. So I want us to make sure that we're cooperating to make sure that, you know, it is fair across the board. I think that that's the key. And I know that in the past, I've heard that, you know, we talk about local hires, and I know there's a standard of like 25% in our PLA contracts, but I don't see a reason why that number can't increase. I don't, you know, it's really important that we support our local economy and our local workers and the parents of our students, right? So, I mean, I'd like to see that number somewhere in the 50%, right? I don't, you know, so whatever we can do to make sure we're supporting that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I guess both of you have said it all. I am in total support of all of you, and I'm there with you.
See, this is what happens when I cause trouble. But I'm delighted to have you guys here. It was one of our earlier meetings. They're like, we're used to districts that work really slow. I'm like, welcome to Santa Rita. It's a whole new world. So we get things done and we work together. So I'm happy to join my colleagues and we're going to move forward.
Yeah. So it seems like we're all kind of in the same direction, and I do agree with Andrew as far as if we can get that number when we go back. So I want to give a direction for that to be put at the following meeting for us to have a vote. And I know we have reached an initial agreement, and then maybe bring that number up to a vote. So we'd like to have you guys back if you guys are able to come back when we vote for it as well. Okay, so with that, I'll end the discussion, and thank you guys for joining us today. And we'll give you a few moments if you guys want to take off too.
I mean, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but
but what Whoever wants to leave can, we'll give them a few moments. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Keep 32 house, if anybody needs some apprenticeship.
That's a hard last thing.
Good to see you.
I'm not from Missouri. Stop sign say whoa.
I got you. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm close enough.
Thanks, sir. And then, you know, I got one thing.
I know. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, we can take
yes, it's-
a quick couple minutes break. Yeah, we'll take a couple minutes. Yeah. 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 Temporarily adjourn for a quick 5-minute break. Yeah. Okay, we're just coming back from our short break. We're moving on to item 8.1, approval use of existing MPP Gov cooperative contracts. And that's Victor's item. Yeah.
Good afternoon again.
Yeah,
Yes, my agenda item. This is basically a power purchasing agreement, which is nationally organized. And this is just what it is. It's basically like what we already use, like the National Joint Powers Agreement, the CMAS, California Multiple Award Services, Sourcewell, and IPA. So basically, this is getting permission to use this national cooperative for procurement of services and goods. We will have to become a member. I think we might be a member already, but I have NPPG taking a look at that.
Motion to approve.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, item 8.2, approval of Park Planet contract.
That is my item again, and this is in cooperation with Park Planet is actually NPPG contractor, and they supply shelters, either shade structure shelters and or play equipment. And since we have play equipment and lunch shelters on our 5-year program, this would be providing the lunch shelters or the shade structures for 2 of our sites, which is a total of 4 each. So this is basically asking for permission to go ahead and approve this so that we can get these going, fabricated, and hopefully installed during the summer.
Questions or comments?
I am very pleased that they're solid structures, not just temporary looking ones. So with that, motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Yeah, and I just want to make a comment. I'm saying aye, and I'm happy to enter into this contract and excited about the shade structures. I just wanted to make a comment that we've talked about when we go forward with the play equipment, that we want to make sure that our playgrounds become inclusive as we put new things forward. So just to reiterate that, thank you.
And Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 8.3, approval of the annual renewal of super co-op agreement for the school year 2023-2024.
Hi, yeah, this is a typical annual renewal with Super Co-op. They handle our commodities. It's a large co-op throughout the state. The fee is based on our commodity entitlement and for this year. So next year's will be 3% of this year's entitlement. Just an annual agreement, nothing major.
Second.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 8.4, resolution of number 22.1.28, full day of transitional kindergarten and full day of kindergarten grants.
Even though we already provide the full day kinder and the full day TK, this is a formality for us to be able to apply for grants and funding for facilities on or modifications, modernization for either kindergarten and TK. So this is, again, it's a formality in order for us to apply for the grants.
You need this to be able to, as part of your grant application, is the resolution. So
Let me get the AB number right. So it's AB 130 has created some additional fundings for facilities for TK and kindergarten, as the age group for TK is expanding each year for the next couple of years until it's inclusive of all 4-year-olds. And this just gives us the ability to apply for that funding.
I would like to thank the state of California for creating another useless hoop we got to jump through. With that, motion to approve.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, 9.1 is approval and increase the superintendent's salary schedule. And this is, I guess, mine and Becky's item. So I don't know if Becky, you want to go just explain a little bit? Yeah.
Jacob asked me to include this on the board agenda for tonight. Negotiations for 22-23 have concluded with our labor partners, and the 5% increase that was applied to, coming out of those negotiations, was applied to everybody else in the district except our superintendent. So this would provide that same increase to our superintendent.
And then we also looked at comparative studies, and we appreciate all the great work you've been doing as well. So any questions or comments from the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 10.1, approval of I'm sure you pronounce Soliant. Soliant behavior technician contracts.
Perfect. That's me. So you guys have seen this company quite a bit. We get our CNAs and most of our behavior technicians from them. This is a contract that I've already brought to you, but it has a different person coming into the position. The other person unfortunately left. So that contract is just with a new person.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Yes, I think so. My apologies, you guys. So we just approved 10.2, the
my apologies,
CNA
yeah.
with Soliant.
10.1, approval of Soliant's behavior technician contracts.
Perfect. Sorry, same company. So this is a contract for additional behavior technicians that we had come in and support us. We've unfortunately been quite short-staffed with our paraprofessionals and other behavior aides. So this is a contract for 4 additional behavior technicians that would be spread across our district, as well as 2 one-on-ones for specific students.
Oh, vitally needed. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, so then we'll move on to 13.1, approval disposal of surplus obsolete materials and equipment.
Thank you. I'm putting this item forward on behalf of Donna's department, Krisha's department, and Victor's department. With COVID, we usually do this on an annual cycle, but we got a couple years backlog with just things. And so what we do is we accumulate obsolete property on an ongoing basis, and it's deemed obsolete if it's irreparable, beyond economical repair, obsolete for district use. So we're bringing forth items that a blanket authorization, and our first ed code that governs us is 17545 and 17546, which allows us to sell or attempt to sell any surplus items that still have any value, or to dispose by donation if we're not able to sell them for any recuperation of funds. We try to donate, and only if they are completely irreparable and we wouldn't want to pass those on for someone else to use, would we dispose of them either by e-wasting or in the appropriate manner based on the equipment.
I'm about to cry the fact that a 1991 Chevy truck, a classic. Oh, but it's time to say goodbye.
With that,
motion to approve.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel.
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano.
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, and we already did 13.2. Moving on to 13.3, or it's an informational item, the State of the District Quarter 2 reports.
Okay, and we'll see if we can manage any technical glitches that may come up, and I'll pass these out for you guys. And we don't have much of an audience left, but we made a couple little edits, so I wanted to make sure we have that. Thank you. Oh, she's put it in my hands. All right. So this is our Q2 State of the District report. And I think I got it. And so the purpose of our presentation is to update our community on Q2 progress. So some of the things we're going to be looking at is our instructional progress, extracurricular activities, family engagement and education, giving a staffing update, and of course, allow an opportunity for questions and follow up. I'm going to look at this bigger one. I can see it. Okay. All right. So we always go over our vision and our mission. It's kind of an important part of our identity as a district. So the Santa Rita Union School District develops the minds and hearts of its students, inspiring our community to be the place where we all learn and grow. And our mission is, in partnership with the community, the Santa Rita Union School District exists to provide high-quality, comprehensive educational experiences that support each student's academic and social emotional development and prepares them to be responsible global citizens who are career, college, and life ready. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into staffing update. And so our quarter of the district reports, for those watching or here with us, it's kind of a what is going on around the district. So if a director needs to chime in, if I'm flubbing up you or you have questions, we can answer as a group. So certificated, we're looking for some middle school positions and putting this out there as a potential advertisement for positions if we have people in our community. We've got some reading intervention positions, science, core teachers, RSP, still looking for a dynamic middle school art teacher. For our elementary schools, looking for a 4th grade teacher and an EL specialist to work with our English learners at Santa Rita Elementary School. Our special education department, we're looking for, of course, speech language pathologists, and we wish Becky and Summer the best of luck at that national conference. We're going to try to branch out and start recruiting on the national stage for our district. And right now in classified staffing, we're looking for health aide, computer technicians, some instructional paraprofessionals, both in general and special education, custodian, maintenance worker, bus driver custodians, and yard duty supervisors. Becky did prepare this slide, and if I start getting this wrong or butchering it, she's definitely going to step in, because we talked about, you know, how the number of vacancies we have, and she started looking at it. The overall unemployment rate is down, but the number of vacancies that exist, not just for us, but just employment in general, is higher because needs are greater. And I think probably every district, I could probably speculate most districts in the country are facing the same sort of thing, that as needs increase, we create new positions and have more job openings, even though the unemployment rate has dropped drastically since April. From a high of 14.7% down to currently September, it was 3.5%. But then we have those number of vacancies because we need additional services for our students, teachers, and families. Some district activities, we just mentioned that Summer and Becky and our SLPs are going to go and be recruiting at the ASHA conference next week. We're also, Donna has been working with, and Melanie as well, working with MCOE on differentiated assistance at Gavilan View and Santa Rita, really doing a deep dive into looking at our long-term English learners and identifying root causes and then developing action plans. So they took site leadership as well as teachers to really dig into that data and start that process of identifying some of those root causes for the long-term English learners. Both of our middle schools this year are looking to attend day trip style science camps. It was just the state of everything. We felt like one more year of supporting them at doing that. And I know both of our middle schools have booked some pretty dynamic day trips. Some of them involve some kayaking and exploration. And so we're really excited to see what they're able to do with that. And then Donna mentioned going to the PLC Plus conference as sort of a taste test, if you will, of looking at, is this our next step to building that PLC capacity, working with Fisher and Fry's PLC Plus model. It aligns right in partnership with the restorative justice playbook that we're working on. It's from the same group, a lot of the same kind of structures. And so running those in parallel, we do feel like we're going to be able to create lasting systems where that just becomes part of our ingrained culture. With that said, some of why we're doing these activities is our current student data. Now, I think most people know that the CASP test, also known as the SBAC, is a one time a year test of how our students are doing. And so this is from the spring of 2022. These dashboard results just came out for us. And so just to give you the highest overview look, and we can do a deeper data workshop in January. But right now, from this test last spring, looking at our English language arts district-wide, we had a little less than 30% of our students meet or exceed the standard for English language arts. And then the bar chart next to it kind of shows you the distribution amongst each grade level. And so you can see quite a bit of students in the red. Now, this last year was our first year coming back from the pandemic, and we knew that there would be quite a bit of learning loss that we're going to have to mitigate. And again, this is that one time a year, and we'll look at our first benchmark in a little bit, but wanted to let everybody know we are looking at this data and continuing to build programs around shoring up based on the needs of our students. And then for math, it's lower. We had a little less than 17% of our students meet or exceed the standards for math. And so doing that work with the differentiated instruction is going to be really important, that PLC Plus. Making those data-informed decisions where we're looking at what are the specific skill deficits and using our curriculum to shore those areas up. And we know this isn't going to happen overnight. So next we are looking at our district benchmark data. And what Donna put together for me was sort of a last fall to this fall bar chart to look at. After the Thanksgiving holidays, right, Donna, is when we'll take our second round of the benchmark. And so when we meet in January, we'll be able to look this year to this year progress. So looking at the fall to fall, you can see that overall we had an increase at grade level and a decrease in those who are below grade level or far below grade level in both ELA and math. So in terms of looking at our SBAC scores from last year and how our kids came in and the slight difference, we can see that our teachers have been able to make some inroads even from last spring to how they started out with their benchmark this fall. And then when we get that second benchmark, we'll be able to see current year's growth. But I thought that was a good data point to kind of do that temperature check when our kids came back for that first year back to school full time versus this year.
Questions or comments from the board?
Well, I'm not surprised. It's lower than what I expected. I'll be totally honest with you. But nationwide, not on that, county-wise, citywide, the numbers are bleak, historically speaking. However, we've had a historical event, which was COVID, and taking 2 years off. I am pleased that I do see some amount of movement between last fall and this fall. But math really stuck out at me. Having said that, I want to hear about all the different interventions, that we're going to do to address this. Because once again, it's not a blame game. It's more of accepting responsibility, and it's up to us to create the programs to bring us back to where we should be. I don't like looking at the past. I like looking at the future, but you got to start somewhere, and you got to have real, concise data that we can base future growth on. So I'm a little shocked, but I'd rather be shocked and know the truth, and then I can grow from there. So I'm very concerned, but once again, I want to wait for the intervention and see what we're going to do about it. But once again, I don't believe it's a district issue only. I think it's a nationwide issue. So having said that, thank you for providing this data.
Just real quick, we had that one last data point for our LPAC data. So this is our English language proficiency assessment for our students. And I kind of alluded to it before, the importance of looking at those long-term EL students. So those are students who have been designated as English learners for several years. Oftentimes they end up on a plateau and they're not able to perform on this assessment that is going to allow them to RFEP or exit being an EL. And so digging into those root causes and looking at that, I think for this particular subgroup of students is going to be a really important factor in what you were talking about, Mr. Patel, in that it's the data that we have. These are our students that we have. And so we've got to get out, what are we going to do about it? So sorry, I think I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Just touching back on some of the subjects, the day trips for science camp, I think is a great option. Just speaking to some other board members from another school district, and just some safety concerns as a parent, I think that safety should be our primary concern for our students, and there's a lot of ways during the day to give them the full experiences without having that night. Although I enjoyed it, but I recognize the safety concerns now for parents. So I'd encourage, if there is ever a discussion, to go back. I know we're trying to get back to normalcy, but that be a real consideration before making that decision. And then going back, I think almost 2 years ago, when we developed the vision and mission statement, I remember us discussing, and I was taking the lead, that it would be nice to have that in the district office, maybe on our windows and decals or something, just so people know when they show up, what our district stands for. I think it's important. And then just going back to our staffing, I know that everyone is pushing really hard to get our schools staffed, and I'm glad that we're going to get a presentation on subs. But I think now I see everything we can throw at this issue is, we should do it. So getting subs to make sure we're supporting our teachers, or maybe increasing our super subs for next year, I think should be a priority as well. And the data is shocking, but I see a real responsiveness from our district, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
I apologize to the rest of the board. Just one additional comment. I am very concerned about making sure we are fully staffed. Whatever we can do at the beginning of the year to make sure that we have enough teachers, and whether it's increasing our bonus, spreading out those bonuses over the years, there's nothing greater to increase overall learning than obviously having a teacher in the classroom. Above all else. I see the numbers, I see this, I see that, but without a full certified teacher with great experience in the classroom, none of it matters. So whatever we can do as a board to encourage us having the first shot at getting those teachers at the beginning of the school year, I'm open to increasing bonuses, spreading out those, if it's a large bonus, to spread it out over the years, so make sure we have longevity for our investment. But I'm open to all solutions right now. Fully staffed. There's nothing greater than we could do than that.
I'm sorry, one more thing, sorry. Speaking of bonuses and, and there's so many other industries where they give referral bonuses. And the reality is our teachers and our classified have a lot of friends and connections. So I don't know if it's ever been considered, but, teachers likely have teacher friends. So maybe that's a possibility that the district can consider in the future is, our current teachers get a referral bonus. I know maybe it hasn't been done before, but like I said, we want the best for our district. So I think that would be a good way to go as well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yes. The data does look pretty grim, but as a teacher that has taught for kinder to fourth grade, I know this is from fall to fall, but at the beginning of the year when you're doing all those assessments, they all look grim. I mean, it isn't until the second semester or the second round that you see a lot of improvement. So I understand there was 2 years that the kids, it affected them. However, I do have a lot of faith in our teachers and in our district office here to guide and work collaboratively with everyone. And I have a lot of faith and I really believe in our teachers. And I really think that we're going to get out of this. So, we just need to think positive. That's it. Just think positive and just work. I know the teachers are in the trenches. They're the ones that work hard with these kids. But I know we could do it. And so I thank you for the data. Even if we have a grim situation going on, hey, we need to think positive. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No.
So just to look at some of our academic interventions that are taking place, different after-school tutoring on site, different enrichments and interventions in school, after school, our TK team doing some interventions both in school and after, working with our students, our early learners as well, getting some of those interventions that they need so that's going to trickle up, doing some comprehensive Saturday school programs, homework centers. We've got a couple of our staff members doing some amazing sort of clubs where they are both doing sort of intervention as well as a athletic enrichment, where the students are in for some homework assistance and tutoring and intervention, and then they're going out and doing sort of a club sport. So I want to give a shout out to our custodian here at GV, Jose. He's been working with our students on like a soccer camp, and they are first getting their academic enrichment and homework assistance, and then going out and shoring up some of their soccer skills so they can be fit and ready for next year. And so really, giving the kudos to a lot of our staff members who are coming up with these ideas as they're feeling invigorated, and how are we connecting the academics to those other pieces that get them engaged and here and doing some of that work. Some really exciting things. And then going over, kind of switching gears to our campus, our district and campus safety. And I know we have a special meeting next week, but highlighting some of the work that we've been putting in, and we'll be able to eventually share out quite a bit with our community so that they know that we have these structures in place for student and staff safety. So working with Kimball and Associates, we've done our active crisis, active shooter response, the leadership roundtables, our crisis response. We've got all 6 schools and the district office facilities, as well as they looked at the grounds, surrounding neighborhoods during the daytime, during nighttime for those vulnerability site assessments. And so going through those to create a comprehensive school safety report and allow us to do that prioritization planning. as we move forward. It's been great. Summer's connected us with the high school district as well, so that we're able to save some spots sometimes for some of their staff and vice versa, as they're also working with Kimball and Associates and sort of expanding that and one more partnership that's going to be to the benefit of all of us. And then looking at our student threat assessment protocol. So a threat assessment team, we've got a group of officials. They've convened to identify, evaluate, and address threats and potential threats to school security. And then that assessment team looking at our incidents of threatening behavior by students, helping us through those processes so that we're proactive instead of always in a reactive state. Also working with MCOE's Safe Healthy Schools Coalition. So they're looking at representatives from all Monterey County school districts coming together to have collaborative conversations and planning sessions with that focus on school and community safety. Our schools are a community hub, and sometimes being such creates a weird dichotomy between being a closed and extremely safe or being an open and welcoming community center. And so working through those processes and how we mitigate that and still allow ourselves to be that sort of community hub while maintaining high levels of safety. Working with the Salinas PD, Sheriff's Department, and Probation Collaborative. So we've had some discussions focused specifically on the need for our district, crisis response planning, debriefing, and preventative strategies. So when we've had incidences, we debrief with our partners so that we can be proactive. And then our youth mental health first aid, all administrators will receive the full 7-hour training, 2 additional sessions. We'll work with our optional PD calendar to get interested staff access for that training as well.
I have a question. I have real concerns about the number of imitation firearms that have come onto campus this year, as I'm sure we all do. I absolutely know that notifications have gone out to parents multiple times, but my question is, are we having conversations in the classroom with all of the students on campus about why we're not doing this? Do the kids know? Because it's just happening repeatedly. And so I feel like, are the adults talking to each other, but we're not talking to the kids?
So there's conversations happening in the classroom. Conversations have happened with our counselors and school social workers to share information as well. And then we are going to be holding a community meeting. Kimball's group right now is working with Salinas PD and the Sheriff's Department to bring together a community meeting for us to talk with parents. And then we're part of our threat assessment, which tomorrow we're meeting with our counselors, social workers, school psychologists, will be additional training around that, which will go back to those school sites.
I have a comment. I would like for maybe our district to consider maybe collaboratively working with the probation department, and having probation officers, not at the elementary school level, but at the middle school levels. And as needed, they could go to the elementary in case emergencies. But, I personally have worked with probation officers on campus. It's a little bit different than with the police department there. And I think it would be a wise additional layer of guidance and security. I'm hoping maybe we can bring that up in the future, but I would love to see probation officers, especially.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. One of the ways that we could, in effect, have a school resource officer is to work with juvenile probation for that position. So I know we mentioned in the past that the police department is pretty strained staff-wise, as is the sheriff's department, but the probation office, the juvenile probation office, is another route to having an individual who is trained as a school resource officer available for us again.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's less controversial also, but I think it does provide that additional level of security. However, I think they're specially trained to work with juveniles and young adults, and provide them the guidance rather than just, an alternative solution that we might not all agree with. So I would wholeheartedly like to maybe see that at some point.
Yeah, I think I'd want more information to kind of see how that would work out and stuff. Yeah, just gonna get an idea.
And so in looking at data, I think it's important that we start looking at all of our data. So Summer put this together. So far, our suspensions, we've had 55 suspensions, which equals 1.7% of our total student population, 19 elementary students, and 36 middle school students. We've had date and students who have participated in ATS have had a 0% recidivism rate.
Yay.
Get that word
That
wrong.
is really, really good. So,
Which,
job team.
which ultimately is our goal for the alternative to suspension, is that it's not just a place to sit and spend your time under punishment, but it's to gain some useful skills.
Yeah, and just for the public, can you describe kind of what would happen typically in those type of situations as opposed to what happens within our district?
So, if a student is suspended, they're sent home for whatever number of days that they've been suspended. Usually they have a reentry meeting with administration and their parents to, talk about how not to do whatever the thing is again that they ended up with, and maybe get them some supports and connections with counselors or other service providers as needed. So by creating an alternative to suspension space in our district with certificated teacher, additional support staff helping her, we're actually able to keep students learning academically, but also connect them to the counseling services, other additional services for families if that's needed. Basically, a lot of things through like our Family Resource Center connections that we have with community agencies, Monterey County Behavioral Health, counselors and social workers. What am I missing?
Nothing. I'll just add, you saw a little bit of that. You saw the image that Mr. Muchnick shared of the counselor, the social worker at McKinnon has created a space to serve not just McKinnon students, but also our students participating in ATS. And it's really just an opportunity for students to regroup, really evaluate their behaviors, and come up with a clear plan how to come back and not create, additional problems for themselves. And we've seen that work because of this zero recidivism rate. And Ms. Chelsea Emery, who also has been highly trained as a restorative practice lead, is able to implement and guide those students, but then also go back out to the site and support teachers in making sure that those students continue to do that work. So her work with them doesn't stop the day or the 2 days or the 3 days that they're in the program. She really case manages them through reentry. And that's also definitely a big aspect of that 0% recidivism rate.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Are you aware of other school districts locally that have this program going?
So there are some districts that have an in-house suspension, which is really what this ends up being coded as because it doesn't really exist anywhere else. What I can say is it's a combination of the wellness centers that you'll see at Salinas Union High School District mixed with the in-house suspension program. So it takes kind of that idea of a wellness center and adds in the support or adds in the reality that the student has done something that's caused them to be suspended and uses that idea together. So it does not exist as we have it created anywhere else. But again, I definitely created it from the learnings of pieces of other sites.
Right. And I know you have a huge workload, and so does our district staff. And the reason I asked that question is because in my not school board role, I visit a lot of other school districts, and students are getting suspended for cell phones and missing out on education, or if they get in a fight, they're out for 3 days, or if they made a dumb mistake, right? And so I think this is really historic. And as the program develops more, I'd love if the district was to share that information with our local school districts, because when I think of this one middle school where I said, do you have in-house suspension? He says, yeah, I just put him to sit with me with the vice principal for, the whole school day. And I'm like, wow, and that's not really educating the children. I understand kids make mistakes, and that's why, there's those suspensions. But I think that our district is doing something, I say historic, because I've seen a lot of the effects of consistent suspensions. So I want to applaud you, Summer, and of course the whole district staff for for taking that on. Thank you.
So a big part of this work and sort of those wraparound things is our move towards restorative practices and progressive discipline. So all of our staff were trained by Dr. Dominique Smith and provided a copy of the restorative practice playbook and some additional training. Actually, Dr. Dominique Smith is coming to our district November 28th and 29th and doing some site visits. Each of our school sites have restorative practice leads, which is a designated support teacher. It's a stipended position, trained with implementation of restorative practices, helping facilitate those student reentry meetings and just sort of tapping into that overall campus culture and climate that our students are experiencing. And then with Harmony at Home, looking at those social emotional supports and the learning through 2 program offerings, Sticks and Stones and student-led bullying prevention assemblies moving forward for our sites as well. Do you have something?
I just wanted to add real quick that, again, just to say that training on the 28th and 29th is going to be in collaboration with Salinas Union High School District. I feel like I keep mentioning them, but I think that collaboration is really important. So Salinas Union High School District has restorative practice facilitators at every site. We had the privilege of working with them on the Girasol training, bringing our social workers to be trained in Girasol with them. And now their restorative practice facilitators will join us and Dr. Smith on the 28th to have that collaborative training together as well. I just feel like because we're smaller, it's such a great opportunity to learn from one another. So moving forward, we'll continue that collaboration.
Thanks. So I know Summer mentioned our earlier, we're doing some additional work around the climate application that was accepted by CDE to be part of the California Center for School Climate, and looking to improve overall school climate and build local capacity through a year-long intensive and collaborative partnership. Again, our goal is always to build lasting practices that stay in place. And then the Girasol training, our social workers and alternative to suspension teacher were trained in the National Compadres Network Girasol curriculum. And you heard about that at our last meeting, but wanted to kind of highlight that. Looking at all school counselors and social workers received our second step curriculum and training, and that's a tier 1 social emotional curriculum support and mindfulness resource for our staff members. The Alisal Center for Fine Arts has provided dance, art, and is starting to do the mural work at JGMS on the side of our beautiful blank canvas on the side of the library. And then monthly virtual parent education sessions with Kid Power focused on boundary setting, pro-social relationship building for our families, and bullying prevention. And we've got some upcoming sessions with that focused on facilitating difficult conversations, which can happen between parents and kids. Looking at our family and community learning, we've got some family STEM activities. We've got STEM workshops for our families in November and December, getting their kits, and these sessions will be in English and Spanish. So we want to make sure that we're providing some equitable, engaging activities. Centro Binacional Leadership Academy, 30 of our families participated in that community leadership workshop, focused on advocacy, community voice, engagement, and those sessions were provided in Spanish and Mixteco. And then we've still got our ongoing book club. Our SRUSD school community held their first book club with 14 participants. And then we're going to have our student and family book club going on as well for our middle schools. Partnering with the Salinas Adult School to continue our ESL classes and expanding those. They're being offered at Santa Rita Family Resource Center and at McKinnon Room 205, which is sort of our Resource Center extension learning room right now. The Hospice Foundation, Grief During the Holidays, our Santa Rita FRC in collaboration with the foundation is going to host a series of support groups for the community in December. And then our Center for Community Advocacy, continuing to partner with them to offer youth and family programming, and to give our youth and community a sense of voice. Looking at getting our DLAC representatives, and they've been selected in nominations and elections held in December, and getting that work going again this year. Partnering still with the Community Human Services, and we sit on the Joint Power Authority Board for CHS, and that gives us the opportunity to be part of those critical resource allocations related to mental health and those services. Special education overview. We've got speech, OT at every site, adaptive physical education and physical therapy at certain sites, of course, based on individual student needs. Giving you kind of a breakdown of, I'm not going to read the slide to you, you guys can see that, but a breakdown of how many SDC classes we have and at what locations, and then our special day classes for mild, moderate versus moderate and severe, and where those are located for us in the district. And over the last several years, those have expanded as we're serving our own students and building programs for them here in district. PD opportunities for special education. We talked, Melanie's done quite a bit of work with her team around the safety care trainings for all of our special education teachers and staff, as well as the transportation team that works with our special education students so that they have those skills in their toolbox when they're needed. Our 3F legal training, so that's really for administration, the teacher leads, school psychologists, and looking at having that for the fall and the spring. Of course, we've highlighting our recruitment in November for speech language pathologists. Our goal is always to have providers who are district employees. And so looking at building our staff capacity in that. So Every Child Counts Symposium, that's coming up for administrators who are going to partner with Melanie for attending that in January. And then we have 10 special education teachers in February going to the Special Education Teacher Conference. Additional PDs in district. Melanie's done a lot of work and continuing to work on things like IEP note taking, CYRUS forms. How are we helping parents engage in the IEP process and self-advocacy for our students? What does it mean for accommodations versus modifications, things like that, instructional best practices, and that expands beyond just the special education classroom and those teachers, but how are we meeting the needs of special education students in a general ed classroom as well? Looking ahead, so right now, our team is planning for winter break intersessions for our students, doing some in-combo kind of things that students can work from home or come to school sites. We've got some teachers interested at different grade levels at providing some intercession days during the 3 weeks of our winter holiday that we have. So because that's a fairly long time period, but it would allow for some very targeted work with our students. Also planning out our spring professional development day. I did want to let everyone know with supply chain shortages and staffing issues, we're going to postpone our district Thanksgiving celebration this year, unfortunately. It's kind of cost prohibitive at this point, and getting what we needed in place it was sort of an insurmountable challenge for us for this year. And so hopefully by the spring, Chuck's got some good ideas for having at least a spring celebration for our community and giving us that advanced planning and time for being able to get what we need in place. And our equipment for our traveling board meetings should arrive next month. And so I think that'll be really important as we start having those community conversations about all the projects, the 5-year facilities plan and things like that, and give people a chance to sort of see our different campuses as we do those mobile board meetings.
Okay, thank you for the update. I know there's a lot of great things that are happening. I know the test scores were really tough to look at, but I know that it looks like there's a lot of stuff in place that kind of help us, those students that unfortunately because of COVID fell very behind, and I know it's been taken nationwide. I know we went to a wedding this weekend, and a teacher said that 18 out of her 25 students are below, where it's at. It's only 5 or 6 in the whole classroom. So I found that really sad as far as the state of our education system as a result of COVID. So any questions or comments regarding the state of the district?
I just want to make a comment specifically on family and community engagement. I'm just so pleased, so pleased. Over the years, that has been a very major issue that has been lacking at this school district, and the fact that, now we have a director and we have so much outreach, in various languages, various programs, I think we're doing our community justice. And when I say justice, I also want to speak up for special ed. These are our students. These are our responsibility. And the fact we're bringing it in-house and we have so many classrooms dedicated, mild, moderate, severe, and we're providing services, therapists. Once again, I think I mentioned last meeting, from the time I began on this board to now, it's just been complete, night and day difference. So I just want to say I commend these programs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 14.1. Our next regular board meeting is going to be December 14th, 2022. And
some of us are leaving soon. We should get some food out of it at least, maybe, I heard you got a grill. Is that right? You got a grill, Well, how about we bring us some tacos up, Just saying.
You should hit that. I know there. Okay.
Mr. President, just a reminder that we do have our special board meeting on Monday at 4:30.
Okay. And with that, can I please get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alvariano,
Aye.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay.